Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Rian Johnson.
Because Rian Johnson likes to talk about Rian Johnson, so we thought we'd jump in on this too. Director
Rian Johnson does not go away. Actually, it's not Rian Johnson so much as the media. The media will not let you forget about Rian Johnson. So Rian Johnson had an interview with, I think, Variety, where they talked about, what the future of Star Wars could look like and whether or not he's so involved in Star Wars. He literally says one sentence: I don't know what's going on.
Well, here's the thing too. The media is all salty as heck because they doubled down on The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson. And then when Rise of Skywalker came out, everything they were doubling down on was gone.
Yeah.
And the audiences didn't like The Last Jedi. So now they're trying to campaign for him to get another movie for Star Wars, which if Disney would do that would be the worst thing they can do. We'll talk about that later. But before we get into the video,
please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're at almost 90,000 subs. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you so
close,
much.
Guys, come on.
So we got another 10, 11,000 to go till we hit our first major milestone.
We're trying so hard. So please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you're still subscribed. Share, tell people to come listen. I don't know why it's taking us so long to hit the 100,000.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's us.
Yeah, maybe it's because we don't buy subs. Who knows?
Maybe it's YouTube, but maybe they don't like us. I don't know. Anyway, Star Wars. Rian Johnson gives his latest update on plans with Lucasfilm. This is coming from comicbook.com. Literally, he said one thing. I'm still talking to Lucasfilm, but they haven't announced anything on their slate yet. That is literally all he said to Variety, and we get a full article out of this.
Yeah, but of course they would have to be in the works right now for this stuff because they're saying that the new movies would be coming out in like 2022. They obviously would have to be on something by now. Yeah,
now supposedly they're going to announce whatever the next Star Wars movies are going to be this month or next month is what I've heard, and
I'm surprised they're saving it for Celebration since because we're doing Celebration in Anaheim this year.
Yeah.
And usually it was every other year, wasn't it? But this year, they're doing it every year now.
Talk about Star Wars fatigue. Let's just do it every damn year.
Yeah,
but we got to get people to the theme park, right?
Yeah.
So we can brag about all the people that couldn't ride Rise of the Resistance because it broke down in Disneyland, too.
Well, there you go. You've been saying how you needed to go out to LA and stuff because there's all these people. There's several invites for us to go to different studios that want to talk to us. Maybe you should just go out there to that and then to Celebration and then because we both can't go, obviously.
Kneon does LA.
There you go.
And then there'll be Escape from LA.
Just don't quote unquote do LA or we're gonna do a divorce attorney.
But we did Chicago. Then we had to do Escape from Chicago.
And we did.
We couldn't get out of Chicago because there was a snowstorm and all the planes were.
Snowstorm.
We were stuck in Chicago for an extra day.
And I was incredibly sick and needed antibiotics. And Kneon had knocked his back out. He has disc issues, and he you didn't rupture it. You just bulged at that time, right?
I don't know what I did, but I couldn't stand up straight. It took me 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes to get out of bed in the morning, and I had to I've had a bad back for most of my adult life, but don't cry me.
It ended up like we could not get out of Chicago. So there you go. You just have to escape from LA without the knives and pitchforks. But ironically, there's these three studios that we have an open invite to visit.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You should go visit them and then do Celebration and something to think about. I'm just saying.
I don't know, maybe. Because I could go to Disneyland. I love Disneyland. I grew up going to Disneyland. I don't know.
We could use some Disneyland coverage on Pirates and Princesses. I'm just saying.
We could. Anyway, let's not make this about us. Let's make this about Rian Johnson. Because
everybody is.
Everybody is.
It's always about Rian.
So, you sent this to me, and it's so weird because it's literally one sentence. And the media has to remind everybody how superior The Last Jedi was to The Rise of Skywalker. And how superior Rian Johnson was.
I love this. So after all that, they go to, Rian Johnson says one sentence, which is basically Disney hasn't announced anything yet, which basically means I don't know because, whatever. And then the article's like, well, because it's the superior film. You can go ahead and
oh my God, with 91% positive reviews according to Rotten Tomatoes, that trusted source.
I know, right?
For reviews.
They're so reliable and upfront and honest.
The Last Jedi was one of the best reviewed films of 2017, which went on to earn $1.4 billion worldwide. That is still not anywhere near what The Force Awakens did. Last year, Johnson delivered audiences' first follow-up effort with Knives Out, another one of the best reviewed films of the year, which sits at 97%.
Based on what? Wait, based on what? So wait, because it got a 90.
Scores.
Okay, because it got a 97% review. There's lots of movies that got the high critical reviews.
Klaus.
Plus, they're all. Plus, they're all. These are the same people that gave them the high reviews are the ones going on trying to get him another movie because they personally like The Last Jedi.
Right.
This handful of people.
This is what this is about, trying to make a case for Rian Johnson coming back to Star Wars. Earlier this week, Johnson even earned himself an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay with Knives Out, but not Best Director, not Best Picture.
Right.
Best Screenplay.
In the wake of The Last Jedi, the Star Wars brand hasn't fared quite as Johnson.
I don't fare quite as Johnson either.
I don't think we all do.
Most days I wake up and I'm like, I am not quite as Johnson today as I could be.
I think they're supposed to be fared quite as well as Johnson. 6 months after that film hit theaters, Solo, a Star Wars story, debuted and delivered one of the franchise's lowest box office totals in history. For a couple reasons. One, news outlets in quotes, kept going around talking about how bad it was probably going to be because of all the reshoots, which they were fine with mentioning the reshoots when it came to Solo, but they were all trying to hide the reshoots when it came to Rise of Skywalker until they realized Rise of Skywalker wasn't going to be the suck-ass Last Jedi sequel they wanted, and then they were all mad about it. But Solo, Star Wars story did terrible for the news, but because people were not going because they were pissed about The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I can't believe that's what they're like. Oh, because Rian Johnson didn't work on Solo, it bombed at the box office. Because Rian Johnson didn't work on The Rise of Skywalker, it's got bad Rotten Tomatoes reviews. That's actually because of people going to The Last Jedi because they liked The Force Awakens. They went to The Last Jedi. They were sorely disappointed. That is what started the Star Wars decline.
Right, and they can trace it back to that. But beyond that, they're like, well, The Rise of Skywalker only has a 53% Rotten Tomatoes review. First of all, as we all know, Rotten Tomatoes is a skewed lying shit show. But beyond that, they're talking about how, Knives Out and The Last Jedi were so highly reviewed, but by the same reviewers, Rise of Skywalker didn't. Yes, because the reviewers were butthurt, pissed off that they didn't get the sequel to The Last Jedi, that they kind of stepped over The Last Jedi and moved past it. So of course they reviewed it badly for that and then gave Rian Johnson's movie a 97%. It's the exact same reviewers. There's a clear bias. Also, Rotten Tomatoes is a load of shit anyway because you can't. It's been locked at 86% for Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
And you can't. And it says in the fine print, no scores. It used to be like under. I think it was under like 2 or something would count. Now it's no scores under 3.5 are allowed to count. So there's no way movies can do badly because in the audience score, I don't know if it's the same for the critical, but the audience score, it's 3.5 and higher is all that counts. So you cannot get below like a C. Or a B. So yeah, I guess it would be in my school, I guess it would have been a D, 70%. But a lot of places that's like a C. So I'm just like, you can't get below that, no matter what you do.
It's the Hollywood bell curve, is what it is.
So it's already rigged. And like I said, the people that they're like, it got bad reviews by the same reviewers who sucked up to Rian Johnson, who you just previously said got great reviews. Of course it did. There's clearly an agenda with these reviewers. I'm like, duh.
You know, I'm gonna give them a little bit of props. So at least they're admitting that the fandom didn't like The Last Jedi. A lot of fans didn't like it. In the more than 2 years since Rian Johnson was confirmed to be confirmed. Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed. That's the whole point.
It hasn't been.
It has not been confirmed. To be developing his own independent trilogy of Star Wars films, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, it might. I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, the first of which he was set to direct. Lucasfilm and Star Wars, the Star Wars community have experienced a fair share of tumult. Despite The Last Jedi earning much praise from fans and critics, the fans who didn't enjoy the experience started nasty YouTube channels.
Oh yeah, the vocal minority that just tanked everything, you know.
They expressed their disappointment loudly and often in the years since the release, while The Rise of Skywalker has inspired similar division among the fan base. Here's the thing. You can trace all of this back to The Last Jedi, and it's not just the movie itself, which, you know, we have our opinions on it. It just completely destroyed Luke, and it
didn't go anywhere.
It didn't go anywhere.
And it was pointless, and it undid everything that was set up, pretty much everything that was set up in The Force Awakens, which they just, and then where can you go with it? They pretty much tied up all the loose ends. There was nothing to go with short of undoing it. They couldn't really move forward.
And the problem is you only have one more movie to work with, so they tried to undo everything and redo it in one movie, and it's still a mess. You know,
right.
It's like you can't do that because there's no plan. It all comes back to the fact that there was no plan. But you can trace Solo and the Rise of Skywalker and the slowing down of sales of Star Wars merch, the low turnout for Galaxy's Edge because it was based on the sequel trilogy. You can trace it all back to The Last Jedi. I mean, you can sing Rian Johnson's praises, and I'm sure he set out to make what he thought was a good movie. But a guy like that, an indie director who said before that he loves trolling audiences, should not have been allowed near Disney's $4 billion investment.
I still don't know what he had on somebody to get himself that deal, because it makes no sense to pick him.
Well, it is the crack in the armor of Star Wars, ever since then.
Crack. It's like a gaping, hole in the armor that's, making it all fall apart.
Yeah, and so because of that, and it's not just the movie, it was also Lucasfilm and Disney and the media spending 2 years attacking fans who didn't like this movie that drove the wedge further and further and further.
Rian Johnson himself was going out and trolling fans worse, calling them names, which, why you would hire that person back after he personally created so much damage to the fandom is beyond me. But also, it's like, Rian Johnson might have done really well with Knives Out, and I'm sure he did, because that's something that it fits in what he's really good at. But just because he's good at independent films like Knives Out does not mean that he'd be a good fit for something like Star Wars. And he clearly was not. And then saying, well, he got all these high reviews for Knives Out, and then comparing it to what he got for Last Jedi, or what everybody else did, is apples and oranges, extreme apples and oranges, because, you're comparing what something, it's like, okay, if I'm really good at watercolor painting, and I'm phenomenal at it, and I do watercolors and they're amazing, but then I try to do, charcoal, and my charcoal looks like garbage, it's because I'm not good at that. It's not what I'm good at. So you don't bring me in to do charcoal. You bring me in to do watercolor. And that's basically, what happened here.
And you bring me in to do L.A.
That's right.
All of L.A.
You better not do L.A.
All in one night. I'm talking about going out to the different places.
Yeah,
and talking to people on one day, of course.
Because you better not do L.A. or I'm going to do the divorce attorney. That's right. I'm going to do the divorce attorney, and then I'm going to hire the divorce attorney, and then we'll get even.
Oh, double screwed. Anyway. So, yeah, Rise of Skywalker, they're talking about how, the fans are divided. Again, this is a movie that's not going to make anybody happy, but then this is what gets me. They talk about Benioff and Weiss leaving, which I think they were pushed out, personally. I think because they have the Netflix deal going on, and it could be because of backlash to Game of Thrones, or like, well, we already have Rian Johnson, who's radioactive with the fans. We can't bring in the Game of Thrones guys who dropped the ball on Series 8 too. We can't do that. But, for all their talk of there being a Star Wars hiatus, that they were going to rest Star Wars, they're already talking December 2022, 2024, and 2026 for another trilogy.
Right, so basically you're getting 3 years off and then you're back into it again. So 1 year extra. There's brand fatigue. Well, 1 minute they're saying brand fatigue, and now she's like, Kathleen Kennedy's like, well, I don't think it's brand fatigue. Yeah, you're right. It's not brand fatigue. It's shitty choices. I mean, make good choices, and then you wouldn't have this problem.
Make good choices.
Okay, Mandalorian is doing well to rebuild the fandom back and bridge some of the issues and bring back goodwill. Maybe hire some of those people. Put them in charge, which everybody keeps saying.
Yeah, put Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in charge of Star Wars.
Some of the individual directors, they already have the one woman who is directing Obi-Wan, what's her name, Chow?
I think it's Deborah Chow. Is it Deborah Chow?
I think it's Deborah Chow. She's directing Obi-Wan, and she should, because she did a fantastic job on The Mandalorian, and I like her too because she basically says, I just want to be a good director, not a good Asian director, not a good female director, just a good director, which is what we need more of.
Yeah,
we need more people that want to focus on telling good stories and making good films, and not about, all these, doesn't matter at the end of the day what you got between your legs, what color you are, who you got between your legs.
All of LA. All of it.
I can't do it. Doesn't matter. Just make good things. Not do good things. Make good things.
Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out, how they're gonna do. Like, look, this isn't a hiatus. This is the amount of time between the original trilogy films and the sequel trilogy films. This isn't like, they're them taking 10 or 15 years off like they did before. This is like, stopping to take a sip of water before continuing to do the rest of LA.
That's right.
That's what this is. This isn't, you know, this isn't a break at all.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just she did say in an article that she did not think that there's brand fatigue, and they're not going to do these trilogies. They're going to do more episodic type, more like single one-shot movies that tie into other movies, that tie into other, you know, like, and so on and so on, and you know, so they're completely missing the point. But I would just say this, Disney, if you are even thinking about bringing Rian Johnson back in, you know, I would give him an episode of a show first. Actually, I wouldn't give him nothing personally, but if you're insistent on bringing him back in, I would give him like an episode first to see how it goes, and to see if he can actually tell a story that fits within a franchise. Because I don't think he can personally.
He'll have to use a screen name to be able to slip past the fandom. Like, you know that episode by that new guy, that John Ryanson? Yeah. Or Dirk Diggler, do you know that guy? Yeah. That was Rian Johnson under another name, so the man babies didn't throw shade at him, and you loved it. So now we're going to give him a whole trilogy.
I mean, personally, I'd give him nothing because I think he's already done plenty of damage. But I'm saying if Disney's insistent on this, which there's no one saying this that they are other than Rian Johnson, they'd be smart to test him on something small first, because frankly, you bring him in and all the goodwill, all the bridges you've built, everything that you've got back with Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, you're going to lose it all. As soon as you put Rian Johnson on anything, you are going to lose it all. Because people, you know, and I'm sorry, the people who liked Last Jedi, I don't think were as big of a group as the ones who, you know, didn't.
Money talks, you know, and people didn't go to Solo, and they didn't turn out for The Rise of Skywalker. I did a video last night talking about how it's crawling its way to $1 billion. It hasn't even hit $1 billion yet. For Star Wars, that's pretty bad.
Like you said, it's a movie for no one.
Yeah.
I mean, all the people that Rian Johnson pissed off didn't go back.
Yeah.
And the ones that were the Last Jedi fans that did go back were mad because he undid, J.J. Abrams undid Rian Johnson's masterpiece in quotes. So
it's a masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
That's what you call a movie that the critics think is a masterpiece, but the audiences hate, and it's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
So, and then don't use Rotten Tomatoes as your, you know, as the standard for what to go by, because a couple things here, like we said, it's cheated like crazy. It's set up to protect movies like Star Wars. And then your critics that were reviewing Rian Johnson favorably up his ass, of course didn't like Rise of Skywalker because it undid what Rian Johnson did, so you cannot compare those two. It's the same people. So the couple hundred of critics that liked Rian Johnson's Last Jedi, of course didn't like Rise of Skywalker, so of course you're going to have this juxtaposition of scores. I'm actually making little hand motions, but I'm not on camera. So.
Ooh, she's making hand motions.
Looks like I'm juggling.
Looks like she's juggling. She's juggling all of LA.
No, apparently that's your job.
All of LA. No, I was gonna do LA. You can juggle LA. You can, yeah. Anyway. Kathleen Kennedy, current head of Lucasfilm. I think she'll be out the door with Bob Iger, personally.
Which we've been saying for a while.
Yeah, we've been saying that. We've got various things we're looking at in various ways in which we can begin or not. Well, that
answers things. We got some things we might do, we maybe not do, we might not do. Great answer, Kathleen.
The universe is never ending. It's liberating. It's exciting. It creates a lot of pressure and anxiety because you know you're not going to make everybody happy at this point. I mean, look, the Star Wars fandom was kind of split-ish before the sequel trilogy, right? But they absolutely, like I said, it was like the little crack in the armor. There were some divisions between people who liked the prequels, who didn't like the prequels.
Oh, this blew that clear out.
Yeah, they just took like a freaking ice pick and jammed it into the crack and
hit it with a hammer.
And busted it wide open. So again, we have a very fractured fandom, and this will be a case. Star Wars will be a case study in 20 years of what not to do.
I'm sure it will be. And the thing is, like with Force Awakens, which I didn't really care for it, but I understood why they were playing it so safe. It really won a lot of people back that were fractured before. I mean, there was like, you know, the metal was melding back together. You were doing a good job, and then, I mean, arguably. And then, oh my God, it's like someone just came in with like, you know, jaws of life and just ripped the shit out of that sucker with The Last Jedi. And then, you know, even then it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was still bad, but it could be maybe fixed. And then you had Rian Johnson and the media out there with blowtorches, making sure the hole was as wide as it could possibly be. And then, so that is another reason why bringing Rian Johnson back would be the biggest mistake you could make. Because he just put gasoline on the fire. Is all he did.
Yeah, and he delighted in it. And I think that's the thing. Like, if he was like, ah, crap, maybe this movie didn't sit well with people, shoot, you know, oh, well, womp womp. But he was like, no, I'm delighting in watching the whole thing burn down.
I'm gonna make the fire worse. I'm just gonna, go piss gasoline all over it and then see what happens.
Rian Johnson is Ghost Yoda. He was very happy to burn it all down. Mm-hmm. He was laughing, he was giggling, he thought it was a big joke. And that's the problem. That's the problem. It wasn't even the movie itself was a problem. But,
the movie itself was a big problem.
But his attitude toward the fans afterwards was the bigger problem.
And the attitude of, if you don't like it, which we saw with Ghostbusters and with She-Ra and Thundercats Roar, if you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. You're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a misogynist. It's all about how you don't like women, which has nothing to do with most people's arguments. And it became the rallying cry for these zealots to go around and completely trash anyone who might just be a casual fan.
Yeah.
Even I didn't really like it because I didn't like. Well, you're just a misogynist, and because of that, it made it so much worse. And then now the tables are turned, but now they're starting that again. If you like the Rise of Skywalker, you just don't understand good storytelling. I'm morally superior to you. Because Ryan, I'm like, no, you're allowed to like things. You're allowed to not like things. If people like Last Jedi, that's fine. If people like Rise of Skywalker, that's fine. If you like neither like me, it's fine. Where it's not fine is when people are going out there deliberately trying to belittle other people for having a different opinion. And that's what ultimately happened with The Last Jedi.
Yeah, and we'll see if Lucasfilm, if Disney learns. I mean, I think that there's going to be some serious spin put on the direction of Star Wars during the next shareholders meeting.
Oh yeah, we'll be tuning in for that.
Yeah, because they were really building up how much of a massive hit the Rise of Skywalker was going to be. It was going to be like the next Endgame, and
they'll just talk over it and go about Disney Plus.
They'll talk about Disney Plus. Well, the Mandalorian's a big hit. Everybody loves that Baby Yoda, don't they?
Star Wars, Mandalorian's great.
Yeah.
Here's me on the cover of Time. Was it Time with Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda that I had no hand whatsoever in creating.
Well, somebody had a hand in there, but it's he's a anyway. So.
Are we talking about Bob Iger or Baby Yoda?
Well, it's up to you. Take your pick. Anyway.
So we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Make sure you're still subscribed because some of you are getting unsubscribed because YouTube is being YouTube. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.